Just when it seemed that the superpower rivalry had gone as far as it could go, the Soviet Union has come up with an answer to Bruce Springsteen. It's Stas Namin and his group. Fred Graham talks with the Soviet Springsteen and his American liaison, Steve Rifkin.
We're about to prove that stereotypes can be very misleading. Most Americans have one image of the Soviet Union. Stasa Namina might change that picture with sound.
Казались странные текучие туманы, и спали карусели. Я шел без всякой цели, вдоль детских развлечений, качели, карусели, вдоль луга и вдоль моря. Я шел в толпе видений, я шел без всякой цели.
He's been called the Bruce Springsteen of the Soviet Union, with 40 million records sold in the Eastern Bloc. The Stasa Namina group is looking to conquer the Western world. Stas joins us today on Night Watch along with Steve Rifkin, the group's American music liaison. Stas, I got to tell you that to a lot of Americans, it's almost like a contradiction in terms to think of a Soviet rock band. And yet, 40 million records, rock must be popular in Soviet Russia.
Yeah, that's a strange question for me because, you know, rock and roll in the Soviet Union is very developed from the very beginning. I played rock and roll for more than 20 years already.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm an old musician.
How did you get interested? I mean, how does American rock and those influences get to you?
Well, I began from Beatles and Rolling Stones from that time. Yeah. And I was influenced very much by, it's difficult for me to say exactly Beatles or Rolling Stones, you know, because I was, well, not a simple fan of one group, just that style. That I think that that phenomena of rock and roll that time was influenced. Well, this phenomena influenced the whole world.
Yeah,
doesn't matter America or China.
Yeah. Well, now, I don't know about China, but in this country, rock and roll musicians feel that rock is the metaphor of the current American society, that it expresses a lot of the yeastiness of American society. Now, in what way was it so natural that it would be accepted in Soviet society, which I think is quite different? Or is it?
No, I don't feel that. And you know, speaking frankly, I don't know why you mention only American rock and roll, why not English? Because English rock and roll is very important and very original. And very,
you know, I miss that when you said, of course, the Beatles.
Yeah, and Rolling Stones, also English.
Well, did any American rock?
So I should ask you how appeared American rock and roll?
Well, rock originated in the United States, and
what do you think? Why?
Oh, it did. Rock and roll did originate.
It's so difficult to say. Maybe in Africa.
Yes. Oh, yes. Rock and roll originated through American black music. Hillbilly music, Western music, pop music, and it all mixed up together.
Yeah,
and look,
that's true.
We're not like the Russians and the Americans trying to argue over who invented the car.
Sure.
But I do see it's interesting that English rock groups influenced you.
Not only English, for sure. American also. American and English. You know, but
you admit it.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
For me, it's a big difference between English rock and roll and American rock and roll. And I can define just for one note. Not one note, but you know. And there is a big difference between white music and black music.
Yeah.
Also, it's also rock and roll, but different style.
Now, explain to me, my understanding is that rock music in the Soviet Union became official, and I guess that means sort of officially accepted.
It seemed like
5 years ago.
No. 5 years ago, it's, I think that all editors on TV, on radio, and record firm, Melodia, they used to enjoy rock and roll. Maybe they changed, they became more young, you know, of my generation.